Arson who?
They have done the double. Thierry Henry! What a goal!
Football isn't just about goals and trophies, it's about identity, legacy, and the stories that echo louder than the chants from the terraces. And few clubs in the world carry a nickname as powerful, as symbolic, and as deeply rooted in history as Arsenal. The Gunners, a name that fires pride into the hearts of millions. But where did it come from? Why does it matter so much? And how has it seeped beyond the club's crest into the players' very DNA, binding them with the fans who call themselves Gooners? To answer that, we need to travel back, not to the Emirates Stadium or even Highbury, but to a place where football wasn't yet a dream. It was an escape. The year was 1886. In Woolwich, South London, the air was thick with smoke, machinery clanging through the day. This was the Royal Arsenal munitions factory, where men worked long hours forging weapons of war, cannons, guns, ammunition that armed the British Empire. Among those workers, a small group of men decided to kick around a ball after work, not for glory or money, but for relief. The noise of the factory gave way to the thud of leather on grass, laughter, and camaraderie. They called themselves Dial Square, after a workshop inside the factory. But very quickly, the team's roots demanded something stronger, something that reflected who they really were. They weren't just men, they were builders of firepower, and that became their identity. The name changed to Royal Arsenal, and the cannon was adopted as their symbol. It was simple, direct, and fierce. And thus, the story of the Gunners began. That cannon wasn't just decoration, it was a message. Arsenal's badge carried the weapon proudly, as if to say, "We are here to strike." From that point on, their nickname became inseparable from their culture. Opponents and fans alike began to call them the Gunners, and the name stuck. But here's where it gets interesting. Over time, the players weren't the only ones to carry the firepower tag. The fans embraced it too, playfully twisting Gunners into Gooners. It might have started as a slang slip, but it became something more powerful. It became a badge of honor. Today, to be a Gooner means you don't just support Arsenal, you live it. But history isn't just about origins, it's about evolution. As Arsenal grew, moving from South London to North London, from Woolwich to Highbury, the cannon followed them. Through the decades, through wars, depressions, and football revolutions, that cannon was never abandoned. It was there when Herbert Chapman revolutionized English football, introducing tactics and style that made Arsenal a powerhouse. It was there when the club won titles, when legends like Tony Adams bled for the shirt, and when Arsene Wenger brought a new philosophy of elegance and artistry to the pitch. And when Thierry Henry, Dennis Bergkamp, and Robert Pires danced across Highbury's turf, the cannon wasn't just on their chests, it was in their stride. Being a gunner isn't about being reckless or aggressive, it's about precision. Think of how a cannon works. It doesn't waste ammunition, it waits, lines up, and strikes with devastating effect. That's Arsenal at their best. Patient, calculated, explosive when the moment comes. Wenger's Invincibles of 2003-04 embodied that perfectly. They weren't just winning matches, they were delivering artillery fire on the pitch with style that left the football world stunned. But what makes this nickname so deeply powerful is how it has crossed from history into the dressing room. Every player who pulls on the shirt inherits more than a jersey. They inherit that cannon. And whether you're a new signing like Declan Rice, a Hale End graduate like Bukayo Saka, or a captain leading the squad, the symbolism is the same. You're a gunner now, and the weight of that word is heavy. Players often talk about what it means to play for Arsenal. They don't just say it's about football. They say it's about belonging to something larger, because Arsenal is not just a club that wins matches, it's a club that carries an identity carved in steel and fire. Look into the stands at the Emirates. Tens of thousands of Gooners waving scarves, singing North London Forever, living and breathing that cannon as much as the players do. The relationship is unique because it's a two-way street. The players are Gooners, the fans are Gooners, and together they share the same firepower spirit. That's why when Arsenal scores, the roar feels different. It's not just a cheer. It's an eruption, a cannon blast, echoing through North London. Of course, nicknames in football are everywhere. Chelsea are the Blues, Manchester United are the Red Devils, Liverpool are the Reds. But none of those names carry the same origin story, the same tangible connection between badge, identity, players, and supporters. Arsenal's is different. It wasn't created for branding or marketing. It was born from the sweat and grit of workers who literally built weapons. That authenticity is what makes the Gunners one of the most iconic nicknames in world football. Think about the dressing room now. Imagine Mikel Arteta addressing his squad before a massive North London derby. He doesn't just talk about tactics, he reminds them of what it means to be Gunners. To wear that cannon is to shoulder a responsibility that began in Woolwich in 1886. You're not just playing Tottenham, you're carrying 140 years of history, of firepower, of pride. That's why Arsenal's nickname isn't just catchy. It's a living legacy that drives players to dig deeper, fight harder, and honor those who came before them. And here's the magic. Every new generation of players adds to that story. Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, they're not just stars, they're modern-day Gunners writing the next chapter. When they score, it's not just another goal, it's another cannon blast in Arsenal's eternal battle for greatness. So the next time you hear Arsenal called the Gunners, remember it's not just a nickname. It's a journey that began with factory workers in Woolwich and now thunders across packed stadiums worldwide. It's the sound of history colliding with the present. It's a bond between player and fan that no rival can replicate. The cannon isn't just on the badge, it's in every heartbeat of Arsenal Football Club. And whether you're in the dressing room pulling on the shirt or in the stands singing with thousands of voices, one thing is certain: once a Gunner, always a Gunner. Because Arsenal are not just a football club, Arsenal are the Gunners, and Gooners everywhere are living proof that the cannon still fires louder than ever. So if this story lit something in you, whether you're a lifelong fan or just discovering why Arsenal's identity runs so deep, don't just watch from the sidelines. Step into the roar, join the chants, and wear the cannon with pride. The story of the Gunners is still being written, and it's waiting for you to be a part of it.